How's it going, guys? This is a sound design request from my patron, John. And he had a question about how to get the synth. There's a soft little lead in the song Put 'Em Up by W&W. And this is what the sound sounds like. And this is my little recreation of it in Massive.
Sounds delicious.
So the first thing to do is to analyze the sound. Let's check out what it looks like in a Spectrum Analyzer. So right away we see that it's about 3 oscillators, all stacked octaves basically. And we can also see that they're relatively filtered because they almost look like sine waves, but we can see a little bit of harmonics in between here. And so we kind of have an idea already of what we need to do. And so let's go ahead and open up Massive, and we want some oscillators that have harmonics. So let's just go to saw waves. Saw waves make up like 90% of sound design. And then let's set these across 3 octaves. And let's turn these amps up. And we'll just get the MIDI. Go ahead and listen here. And let's change this to 16th notes because they have that little whoa, whoa, whoa. It's a 16th note. Bum, bum, bum. Okay. The coolest thing about the sound is the filter movement. And so let's set up a filter. We're going to do a low pass, and we're going to make sure these are all routed to filter 1. And we'll go ahead and throw this up on filter 1 as well. Go ahead and listen again. And so it's a slow attack filter. And so what we're going to do is we're going to get this envelope here and put it on the cutoff. Let's bring it all the way up for now. We're going to bring the level down, and we're going to bring the attack back. And it's really about getting the attack and decay settings right to get the right won't feel. All right, now I'm going to pull this back actually, and I'm going to try to find the lowest point that I want to filter. And so that's about the lowest point that I want to filter down to. So at least that's always kind of cutting through the sound. And then now obviously what we need to do is bring down the filter, but I actually don't like bringing down the filter right here. I prefer to bring it down here. That's just a little idiosyncrasy of mine. And I know one thing that I did is put a randomizer on this level. And that just randomly brings up the tail end of this sound just a little bit. This is my favorite thing in Massive, this random macro here. But that's pretty much like the basics of the sound. 3 oscillators spread over 3 octaves, and then we have a little low pass and just a slow attack filter movement, and that's pretty much it.
That was easy.
The other thing is I want to bring it forward with some distortion, and so let's find the right amount of drive here by turning it 100% wet. That's a good amount right there, and let's just figure out how much we want of that. Now there's a little bit of a pop in the beginning of the sound, and I wonder if bringing the attack back will take that away. A little bit, okay? And then finally, obviously what we need is some reverb. So let's go ahead and put a reverb on. And the reverb in the original is dark. And so I'm going to bring the color all the way down. And they are for sure sending it to some kind of reverb rather than using the synth's reverb. I'm also going to bring the density all the way up, so it's a really dense reverb. I'm going to bring the size up quite a bit, and let's bring the dry wet. All right. Okay, so we can hear what we need to adjust. I think the filter's a little bit too high. We can also bring the volume up. Okay, the reverb is a little bit too much right now, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put on the envelope, and I'm gonna bring it down, so that way when the pluck, or I can't really call it a pluck, the lead is at its highest point, the reverb is at its lowest point, so it's kind of like inverse. Okay, bring up the resonance. Another thing I'm going to try here, I think this is what I did in the other patch, is put the envelope here on the resonance, because right now it's a little too wow. And so I get the punch at the top of the sound, but not through the whole sound. All right. And there's also a little bit of noise on the sound. And there's too much low end in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to route this noise to filter 2. And let's go get a high pass. And obviously, let's go ahead and make sure the mix is between both filter 1 and 2. All right, and obviously way too loud, so let's go ahead and apply this envelope to the amp. Okay, this oscillator is a little too loud. Let's bring it back. And another thing, let's get a spectrum analyzer so we could see the level between the first 2 oscillators. And so this one is pretty accurate. This one needs to be turned up a little bit, as we could see over here. See, these 2 oscillators are pretty level. The first one just a little bit louder. So let's turn this. Okay. All right, I think we're pretty close enough to see how to quickly get this patch going. And so let's compare the one that I did earlier. I spent a little bit more time on it. And so they're pretty close, aren't they? Let me just show you some of the processing that went post synth here. I will export this patch, and I will make it available for anybody who supports me on Patreon at $1. All right, and I hope that was useful, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.
Ooh, that's a bingo.